knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with. That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're an Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour today. Burgess Owens is with me. He is a former NFL player. He played 7 seasons with the New York Jets, won a Super Bowl in 1980 with the Oakland Raiders. He is married with 6 children. Can you imagine? 6. That's a lot of kids, and that's cool. I love a big family. And is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormon Church. He is the author of an ebook that was published last month called It's All About Team, Exposing the Black Talented 10th. And it's an honor to have him with me. Burgess, good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jesse. I've been looking forward to talking with you. You're one of my true heroes, have been for years, and it's indeed an honor for me to have a chance to talk with you and your audience today.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. You are my hero as well. I saw you on, I believe it was Fox News the other night, I guess, or morning, and yeah. I'm like, wow, you're so on the money about everything. You know what? Do me a kind favor, because in reading your bio, you and I were raised in somewhat the same manner in that I grew up down in Alabama on a plantation at a time when the laws were against black folks based on color. I remember going to a movie theater once, and the blacks had to sit in the balcony. We were not allowed to sit with white folks in that theater. But yet we were not taught to hate. We were taught that if we work hard, treat people the way we would like to be treated, that there's nothing can stop you. And your background is somewhat like that.
Absolutely. Actually, and Jesse, the book that I just came out with is all about team, exposing the black talented 10th, which you've been doing for years now, is really a celebration of my race. It's about a race that within 4 decades of slavery was the true American dream, was building great businesses and great universities and all the things you need to get done. And of course, from that point until now, it's the American nightmare. But I did grow up in a segregated South. What I love about that era was I had a chance to look around and see success everywhere. I saw black businesses, black parents that really focused on their kids. All the things that we now talk about in the last 50 years has been hijacked, but it's the group of elitists, and that's what we need to get back to the greatness that we were, and we need to talk about it and make sure people know what's going on with this.
You know, it's interesting in that, and you say that because when I was growing up, even though those laws were there, I was very much aware of black businesses and blacks going off to colleges and coming back as professionals. I remember I grew up near Booker T. Washington, not Booker T., but George Tuskegee. I grew up near there, and we used to go there every summer to visit. We stay a weekend there to learn more about the schools. I didn't have the mindset that blacks could not thrive just because the laws were against them in some areas. But that seemed to be the mindset of many black Americans today.
Well, Jesse, when we grew up, we actually looked forward to the opportunity to compete. We really did. It was that the expectations were so high from our parents, our teachers, our coaches, that we knew if we had just got the chance, either in the classroom or in the field, or on the football field, or whatever arena we were going to be in, that we were equipped to win. And that was such a great opportunity from the greatest generation, because my parents and my grandparents went through an era of true institutional racism, and they believed so much in themselves that the black middle class continue to pull the rest of the race through, and we just need to get that back. We need to start listening to a different group of people to get us in the era that we need to be in.
In your book, it's all about team, exposing the black talented 10th. Who are the black talented 10th?
Okay, that's a good question. because they've been around for over a century now. Back in 1900s, when the black community was really beginning to show themselves well, beginning to get respected and have the self-sufficiency, there was a guy named W.E.B, who's now a hero within the community, unfortunately, today. He was a intellectual. He was a liberal. He came out of Harvard University. He actually believed that a certain portion of his race was genetically superior than the rest of his race. And so he put the term the black talented tenth, the best of the race. And he happened to get together with other socialists, white socialists, and developed, at the time, became part of an all-white organization. 19 white wealthy socialists began an organization called the NAACP. They gave themselves a black name. They then found a black face and a voice in W.E.B, who believed in their ideology. And they ingratiated themselves within the black community and began to undermine Booker T. Washington. They undermined capitalism and focused our attention on integration, ingratiating ourselves with them versus the way Booker T. Washington was going, which is to empower ourselves like every other race has done. So that's the route we've been going. And between the NAACP, he was also on the board of the Margaret Sanger's abortionist. She did the same thing. She got a bunch of black people that allowed them to deliver the message the first time in the community of aborting their own babies. And so he really was quite an influence on the direction of our people. Our goal right now is just to get that back. We made the wrong turn at the crossroads. We now have to understand that free enterprise, self-sufficiency, knowing that God comes first and he blesses every one of us if we do the right things. If we understand those issues and those tenets that made our country great, our race can come back as strong as ever. And I look forward to that day because I know it is coming. I know what you mean.
So would people like Jesse Jackson and the Congressional Black Caucus, NAACP, and a lot of these godless black preachers, would they be considered the talented tenth today that are leading black folks?
Absolutely. No, they are the definition of the the talent tenth. The talented tenth, understand what their focus is. It is ideology and self first over race or anything else.
Yeah.
That's what they believe in. So this is a group that actually will vote for and stand for anything that's, even if it's anti-black, which liberalism and progressivism is anti-black.
Yeah.
It's anti-black with the black community, with the teenagers, with black women, across the board. But they will stand strongly for this ideology because it makes sure that they keep their prominence. If you were to look at, I tell you, those of us who stand for free enterprise and for our community are called all kind of names.
Yeah.
It always comes from the same people. The same group that this team of liberals and socialists, black and white, that back themselves up.
Hold that thought. Don't forget it. Hold that thought. We'll come back and pick up on the other side of this break. Back in a moment. I have a new friend now, and he's with me right now, Burgess Owens. Burgess, you were about to make a point just before the break. Do you want to finish that up?
The point is basically you have a group of elitists. Their history goes back to the turn of the century. They have a very consistent philosophy, which is ideology first, socialism, liberalism, progressivism, and then themselves.
Yeah.
That above race, that above anything else. And we need to, as particular black middle class, it's going to be us, the black middle class, who will get us to recapture the dreams of the black community. We need to point these people out, stand against them, and call them what they are. They are traitors to our race. They're traitors to our community because they will take care of themselves as our community has continued to be devastated for the last 50 to 60 years. We need to call them for what they are and begin to find ways to defeat them.
In your WorldNet Daily article, Obama's empathy-free presidency, you talk about the fact that Obama lacked empathy, and he eliminated the school voucher program. He visited New Orleans a full week after Hurricane Isaac hit. He lacked empathy for babies born alive and 20 million jobless, unemployed. Explain all that to us.
Well, and I hope everybody has a chance to look at that, because at the end of the day, there's this belief that Obama is a very nice person who just can't wait to help everybody out and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, his policy shows quite different. If you go all the way back to Chicago, where he was actually overseeing thousands of very poor people in the low income projects, he could care less about their plight as they lived in squalor, while his friends became very, very wealthy, tens of millions of dollars from his friends who were either managers or developers for these projects. And within a decade, they were dilapidated. And he sat by and said, of course, he knew nothing about it. The talented 10th lives very, very well. They continue to take care of themselves, but at the end of the day, the people that they're supposed to serve always suffer.
It's a very, very good article. WorldNetDaily.com. Be sure to check out this article. And so you say black people should not vote for Obama. No.
The black community, the reason why we were the great community we were in 1900 because we were people of principle.
Yeah.
My dad, his legacy to me is his principle. He would do things that I could not understand only because his word meant that much more, or the principles that he stood by. He today, 50 years after my mother went into a service station to go to the restroom. These young men came in and tried to take her out. 50 years later, he has not gone back to that service station. Will never support him. Cut the card up, and he did that for principle. So, as a pair of people, we need to put principle first. Our families, our kids, our community, and for us to put blackness above all that, we're going to continue to hurt ourselves. Principle is colorblind. If people are doing the right things and putting God first, people first, then we're going to do the right things and get the right people in office. And we need to get away from this black thing because it's killing us. We're putting the wrong black people in office, and they're truly harming our race in a big way.
When I was growing up, you're absolutely right. Morality was the theme of the day. It wasn't about it wasn't about the material things that we had or did not have. It was about loving God, the family, doing the right thing, working hard. And when we had those principles, it didn't feel as though we were poor because we had peace within ourselves. We had the family there, and the government came in under Lyndon B. Johnson, along with the so-called civil rights leaders, and they destroyed that family by taking the father away, and the government became the daddy, and these corrupt, talented people that you're talking about became the head of the people. Values went out of the window, and it is about color instead of character.
I remember distinctly that era. I remember, first of all, we were all very proud of our community. Of course, we didn't. Personally, I didn't have a lot of interaction with white people because I lived in my segregated community of Tallahassee.
Yeah.
But I was always taught and trained to think, first of all, to say yes, sir, and no, sir, to my elders, to respect them, to respect myself. All those things we were being taught at that time. And I remember distinctly when the idea of women being given incentives to have babies, no matter how old they were, to make sure the man was not in the house. And even at my young age, I knew there was something wrong about that. Now I look back, I understand it was truly an evil thing to actually purposely destroy that nuclear family that made the black community so strong. At that time, less than 20% of single mothers. Now it's over 70%. We cannot have. It's impossible for one person to effectively, with 24 hours a day, to do all the things it takes to really raise children. It's teamwork. It's a mom and a dad, with each one having his own particular role and standing up and doing what it needs to be done. And I tell you what, that's one thing I believe very strongly. Watching my dad, my granddad, men were taught to be men.
Yeah,
they didn't say things like "I love you" in those days, but boy, they taught you how to show your love, your respect for the family, for your wife, and for the kids. I would never ever think about disrespecting a woman or my mother or my sister.
That's right.
I was taught early that you don't do those kind of things.
That is absolutely true, man. It just wasn't a part of our thinking to be that way. It just wasn't there. And it's just crazy. It's the mentality of a lot of people now. They've just lost those values. I want to ask you something quickly about your article here on WorldNetDaily.com. Barack Obama loves abortions at any point, even if a baby should come out alive during a botched abortion. He voted for a bill that would allow the baby to die on the medical table. He also said that he wouldn't want his daughters burdened with a baby. A whole lot of black people do not support, and not their leaders, but the people themselves, they do not support abortion or gay marriage or any of that stuff. Is it that they are supported Obama because of the color thing and he's a Democrat? And how are they able to overlook the fact that this guy supports abortion in such a manner?
Jesse, think about this. We are the only race. We have such a diversity. We have so much success, and at the same time, a lot of failure. But we have a 95% group that will vote for Democrats every single time it comes around. Now, think about this. 95% of capitalists like myself, will vote for the same person that communists vote for. The same one that says, I love life, I will always stand for life, vote for the same candidate that will destroy life. We need to, as a people, recognize that principle has to come first. We cannot continue to say, okay, I'm going to vote for a party, I'm going to vote for a black person, no matter what they say or think or do, because if they're voting against our principles and our morality, we're voting against everything that's important to us. And I think the fact that the Democratic Party has such confidence that no matter what they say do, we will vote for them is where we lose our power.
Yeah, I agree.
We will gain the power again once we say, this is what I stand for, regardless of who you are. You don't abide by my thoughts, we're going to push you out of there. You'll be amazed how much power we get back.
I want to hold you over for one more short break. When we come back, tell the folks how to get your book and read your articles as well. Patrick Roonan will be here right after this break, behind the headlines guy, to give us his feedback from last night, Democratic National Convention. That's coming up. Breaking news, according to the Drudge Report, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit Costa Rica. Tsunami warnings are issued for multiple South American countries, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, and more. The earthquake struck offshore. That's terrible. We had an earthquake here the other night, and it was small, or the other morning. I think it was Sunday morning or Monday morning or something like that. I'm talking with Burgess Owens. His brand new book is all about team, exposing the black talented 10th. And he says that black Americans should not vote for Barack Obama. They should start thinking and doing for themselves, return to values. Make sure you go to worldnetdaily.com and read his brand new articles that's there right now, Obama's Empathy, Free Presidency. It's very, very interesting article. How can people get your book?
Okay, well, the book, it's an e-book. It's called It's All About Team, Exposing the Black Talent 10th. And I just want to make this point because All About Team is about this group of individuals, black and white, that have hijacked our race. But it's also about people like you and I, conservative voices out there, the white and black Americans who love our country, who just want all Americans to progress. And I knew years ago, before I started putting this book together, that I would one day have a conversation with you, because I knew that this team that I think Heavenly Father is putting together across the board is going to bring our race and our country back to the best. So organizations like yours has been out there crying out in the wilderness, a bond that are trying to make things happen and giving the right message is the type of team I want to be part of, and I want to continue to let other people know that I'm not the only voice. There are many of us out there trying to make this thing turn around, and we will do so.
Right on. Thank you, man. I want to ask a final question. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm glad now that we know each other, we're meeting, and hopefully we'll work together and continue to do what God would have us to do.
Okay.
You are a Mormon and a black man who happens to be a Mormon. What do you say to folks who are concerned that Mitt Romney is a Mormon? And, there are some Christians who say, well, I don't know if I vote for him because of that reason. And then what do you say to black people who says that the Mormon church discriminate or the religion discriminate against black people?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you what the Mormon, what the word Mormon is. That's an acronym, but the real name of my church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am a Christian. I'm proud of both. I'm proud of what the Mormon, the Christian faith is doing in our country. And let me tell you what I think is interesting, and I'm very excited about our country showing. You see, the liberals and socialists and progressives do a really good job of trying to divide us.
Yeah.
They divide race, they divide religions, they divide wealth and not wealth, every way they possibly can. That is the nature of who they are. They look from outside in. Our country has always looked at the way God has looked at us, inside out. And that's why we have been such a special place and a magnet from everybody across this world. I would suggest everybody out here, listen to what I believe is going to make a difference, principle. Listen to the principles of the men that we're looking at putting in office. Look to the honesty. Look at their history. Look at what they've stood for and what they stand for in terms of America. All those other issues, if you allow them to be the primary thing, we're going to be pulled away from the principles that have made our country great. So don't let those liberals and progressives and socialists divide us, people. Let's be the Americans that made it great for all of us, of being colorblind to everything else but principle. And those things that have made the American way the magnet of the world today. So I'm excited about this next few months of, I guess, 50 plus days or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think America must show themselves as the country that we've always been, one that believes in the concepts of our founding fathers, and we're going to move forward with that.
Wow. I really am happy to meet you, and thank you for coming on with us. I wish you well with your brand new book, and anything I can do for you, you only have to ask. And anytime you want to come on the show, you have an open door policy. You can come on anytime you like, man.
Thank you, Jesse. Listen, I've been waiting for years for this conversation, and I look forward to teaming up with you. We're going to win this one big time.
That's
right.
We
need to win.
That's right.
Okay,
I agree.
buddy.
Have a good day.
All right. Take care, buddy. Take care. Bye.
Okay. Patrick Rooney is coming up next, folks. Behind the headlines, one of the smartest white men on this side of heaven. He's going to give his opinion about last night, the Democratic National Convention speeches. It's an honor to meet that guy. I have a brand new friend. Isn't that something?
This has been the Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show, produced by Bond Action. To access the full version of this show, visit us on the web at bondaction.org.